Most people have a bipolar relationship with their mind. Some hate it, some love it. And that's a big problem, because as long as this relationship is not controlled or established and healthy, your mind is just going to play games and tricks with you without you even knowing it. And what this that leads to is that when we have to think, we avoid thinking. And when we have to take a leap of faith and avoid thinking, if you're in love with it, you just get stuck into thinking and you just controlled by that thinking without even knowing it. Why is this is such a problem? Because look, if you hate it, then your emotions are ruling your life and your decisions. And we both know you don't want that. And if you're obsessed with it, every single time we have to move forward, your mind works so well, so good, and it will provide you 1,000 ways it could work, it will work, and 1,000 ways why it will not work, because that's being in love with your mind and just with the thinking. So what we're going to do today, we're going to go through 3 aspects of this intellectualism. Intellectualism, when your reality, who you are, lies into thinking. And what you think, that's exactly who you think you are. So the 3 aspects we're going to go through is mind shift, mindset, and mind control. Now, why is this so important? Not because I'm saying it, and don't subscribe, don't like, just watch this video for the next 5 minutes. And if it starts to make sense, watch it until the end, and it's going to help you to get over it and to start to build a healthy relationship with your mind. And if you don't like it, just good luck and thank you for attention. I'm sure you're going to get something useful anyway, even in the next 5 minutes. All right. So before we start to look into these 3 aspects, and I'm going to give you a framework for each of them, let me ask you this. Have you observed that the best leading decisions you've made in your business or in your life were not rational? When you had to make a decision where to go, what do you want to achieve, and just imagine it and set the direction, the leading thinking, they were not rational, because that was something you were trying to imagine to see. And the worst implementation decisions, when it's time to do what you say you're going to do and to follow that vision, were irrational. What does that mean? You're probably a little bit confused. So look, there are decisions, leading decisions, and there are implementations decisions. Think about it this way. Look backward in your life and find a moment where you know that you had to approach that person, where you had to make that decision about something which was a little bit scary. What did you do if you didn't do it? What did you do? You thought too much. And there were moments when you set yourself a goal, and you say, like, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I want to achieve. That's what I'm going to work on. That's what's valuable to me. And then worry, doubt, and emotion came in, and and it didn't follow through. And you look backward and you say, I should have just think a little bit. I should have just thought about, hey, what's important? Why am I on this mission? Why do you want to accomplish this? Why is this so important? And I just should have think a little bit better. So here we go. We are already in the first part of this video, is the mind shift. Shifting your mind is directing your mind, or understanding that your mind can be used for different purposes. So now we already see that there are leading decisions, and they should not be always rational, and there are implementation decisions. And when it's about leading thinking, the worst thing what you can do is to think it too much in all the details and try to see the future ahead. And there is the implementation thinking, when you have established the direction and you just have to follow through. So this is already the mind shift. Now you can start to see that I can dissect my thinking, and there is different purposes for different stages, and just thinking doesn't mean that this is all of it. Or if I think it, then probably it's real. And if I would like it to be real, but then you'll use your thinking how to get there. So this is the first phenomenon which you've just been through, is shifting your mind. All right? So next time when you are in the moment where you're building your business, and I work not every day, almost every day with people which are building their business, growing their business. So no matter your age, no matter where you are, I really want for you to just get out of that intellectualism. This is the first part. So if you can start to see this shifting mind phenomenon, you are already 30% resolved. You're good. You're already 30% out of this intellectualism. Let me add you one more thing, that if you struggle to imagine yourself not thinking in those moments where you used so much to think every little detail, realize that what is the hardest thing for ourselves to give up or to sacrifice is probably the thing we identify our identity through that thing. If you can't sacrifice an hour of sleep for doing something you promise you're gonna do, you care more about that an hour of sleep, means your identity is I still have to stay healthy, I gotta get my hours of sleep, and because that's what you see yourself as being. What is hard to give up, that what has control over who you are. And if your thinking is so near and dear to you in every situation, is probably somewhere you think that if I give up thinking a little bit and I'm gonna take this leap of faith, I'm gonna lose who am I. But we're going to get that in the third part of this video, which is the mind control, about the identity, and to start to understand how to control it so it has to be submitted to something higher. So this is the mind shift. And I really wish for you to start to understand that your mind is a tool and it's not a leading cause. It serves something higher. And you can shift it, you can change it. Don't believe everything you think. Think about what do you believe, what do you stand for, where do you want to get, and use your thinking for that. Now, mindset. Most of people think that mindset is just the way you think. Oh, his mindset is a little bit blocked, his mindset is negative, or his mindset is not mind, and that's it. It's setting your mind. So if through the shifting we realize that it can be directed, it can be changed. Now at the mindset answers the question, I'm gonna set my mind between what? Or what should I set my mind into, between what? So let's look into that. So in the mind shift, we discovered there is a leading thinking, and there is an implementation thinking. That's the executional part. So that's the implementation thinking. Good. Now there is a third element to it, because setting your mind is, there is an source, there is an origin, there is a destination, and something is in between. So in the implementation, there's the leading, and there's the implementation, which fulfills something. So when you use your mind for following through your destination, means there needs to be something which is leading, and that is the purpose. That is the purpose. Why is this so meaningful, not only to me, but to everything and everyone around me? It's something higher and more than myself. And the purpose, my friend, is, sometimes I hear this often, find your purpose. Well, I don't think it can be found. It can be discovered, because this is God's given purpose already within you. And yeah, finding it, but it's more discovering it. It's already within you. But there is something there that's pushing you forward. What is that? That's the directing force. So this is the implementation, directing, this is leading, and this is implementing. And that it comes from your vision. So you can't use your whole rationality, your thinking for the vision, because it's something that you believe it's real before it happens in the vision. So you are here and you look forward and say like, wow, that's purposeful. That would be something amazing. But you got to start seeing it before it's real. So it's irrational, correct? But the purpose, this is spiritual. This is spiritual. This is not even something that you have decided to have a soul that's longing something higher, more than your mind. And this implementing. This, it can be very rational. You can think through about what you do, how you're going to achieve it. Why? Because if this is the purpose, then this is the mission. So what do we have now? We have the vision, we have the mission, and there's the purpose. And the mindset is setting your mind between the vision and the purpose. So I have this vision, I have this dream. Well, what is the mission? And you can't have full control, which is the third part, but it's hard to set your mind to work for you unless there is something in front of your mind and unless there is something behind your mind, which is pushing your desires forward. And if you don't have clear the purpose, and let alone if the mission is not clear, what do you do in your business? What's the mission for the next 3, 6 months or 12 months? Then you end up into thinking, into the mind, and that becomes your leading force. And you say like, oh, but I can't see, that's so hard. Then doubts come, and emotions, and like, oh my God, how am I gonna do it? Well, because you made your mind your God. And you ignore to see the purpose which is already within you. And you hate a little bit thinking about what's the mission of my business now? I'm gonna serve, I'm gonna do, what do I want to accomplish? And not all what I want to accomplish when it does happen, but what actions I'm gonna follow through, what's the plan, what's the strategy, what's the implementation. And that's exactly what you can go through. If you click the link in the description below, you can go through a 5 days challenge, mission challenge, where we go exactly through every part of the mission. So what needs to be done, obeying the higher values, the inner strength, the solution, the strategy, so that you can, the implementation, so that you can be a man on a mission. So if you want to set your mission, it becomes so much easier afterwards because you start to make sure that the mission connects the vision to the purpose. And you're not just every day looking, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. Oh my God, I don't know, can I do it, can I not? Because when you set yourself on a mission, you become unstoppable because the vision is clear and you understand like, hey, I don't have to understand it, every little piece of it. And the purpose I know is something that's pulling me forward. And I'm going to fulfill the strategy, the plan, so that when it does happen, I can say, wow, that's something more than myself. That's something bigger than myself. And that is beautiful. So this is the irrational part. This is the rational part where you need the thinking. But what do we do sometimes? We want to use the rational here to think, hey, but I'm going to do this vision. Oh, this is just too crazy. This is too big. I can't do it. And so on and so forth. And then we get stuck there. And we start to see 1,000 ways how it can't work. Rather than using the rational into the mission and following through. You know about those moments when you think backward in life, about some moments when you say like, I should have done this. I should have just think a little bit through and not give up and not to get backward. Wait, you should have thought that. That's exactly where you think. That's where your mind is needed. All right. So the purpose is serving. That's serving something which is above you. So that needs a little bit of sacrifice. And that you have got to sacrifice a little bit your mind too, because it's harder to believe than just to see everything, right? If that's serving, this is leaving. You leave your mission every day, morning to night. And that is fulfilling. You fulfill your vision, which is within you, and you look forward, it's like, wow, that'd be great. It's boiling right there in front of you. So before we move into the third one, ask yourself if this should be real before it happens. Ask yourself, do I struggle to see it before it happens? Means you gotta have some clarity about your vision, and not just stay focused on the mind, on the problems and the solutions, and just get lost into all these details. Hey, what is something there which I ignored to see because I couldn't think it through? And probably you try to use too much of your thinking into your vision, but that's not the best tool for it. Now, when you're on the mission, I do it so that it can happen, not waiting for it to happen. So this I gotta see it before it happens, but this is I do it so that it can happen. So after you you clarify for yourself what's the vision which fulfills your desires and your passion. You say, what should I do? And that's the mission. And if you can get through the 5 mission challenges, which you can access for free in the description below, that's exactly what you can get access to. So we can go through every stage, every part of it. And when you look forward, when it does happen, is this something bigger than myself? Or have I just limited myself? I have just focused too much on the mind, on the thinking, on the mission without seeing, why is this purposeful for me? Because this is leading, that helps you, gives you the energy to move forward. And the mission is, I do it so that it can happen, even if it is not real yet. And this is the mindset, setting your mind between the vision and the purpose. Some people would put the vision somewhere forward because like it's in front of you. Well, yes, but after you clarify for yourself the vision, you gotta start doing it. So seems to me, and works every single time, that the vision comes before the mission. You set the vision, then you define the mission so that it can happen. So that's why you need your mind, your mission to connect these two. And you can get clarity about all these 3 just accessing the link in the description below. All right, good, that's amazing. Let's move now to the third one, which is the mind control. Now, the third piece for you to get out of the intellectualism so that you can stop identifying your whole reality and who you are through thinking alone is to start to control your mind. But how? How can we control our mind? Who should control our mind? How can I do it? Well, if in the mindset we have identified the fact that, okay, so I gotta set my mind between these 2 higher values than the mind alone, now comes time to be a little bit more aggressive. So, all of the above we mentioned sounds great, but it's so hard to control your mind. It's easier because you have watched until this point, so now you know the values, the neighbors, which define this bridge, which is the mindset. Now, if there are not higher values than your mind, the mind is the higher value you hold onto. And one starts to believe that if I think it, and if I can be as rational as possible, that I'm improving my mindset. But the source of the knowledge that comes into your mind will decide for you your perception. And then you start to say that, oh, I'm controlling my mind very well. I'm controlling it all right. But if the source comes with information you heard from somewhere, your older beliefs, we need to refresh those beliefs. We have to refresh that knowledge, but not to the point where it becomes the leading force. So we have to take care of what do we put in our mind so that it can serve at its highest, at its best, the purpose and the vision. So if this tool is not sharpened, if it's not improved, then you want to use older tools for new goals, for a new value. It's like in the Bible, the story where you want to use old skin sacks for a good wine. You don't do that. You gotta put a new wine in a new bag and a new skin sack so that you don't lose both of them. So here's a formula I want to quickly share with you to encourage you to decide for yourself where do you want to look for that source of information, belief, for that source of truth. So here's the formula which might really help you. If you really love thinking, then you probably like theses and arguments and questions, and that's great. Questions and arguments. All right, good. Who doesn't like questions and arguments, especially if you really like to think? And if you're somewhere maybe similar to me, then I love debates, because through debates, we get to a deeper truth, and we not only discover it, but we start to comprehend, even if partially, to understand why do I have this or this argument in my mind? And where do we get it? We get it from a thesis, from theses we use based on truth. And if your beliefs are not based on truth, but on what you used to believe, on what you hear from others, that becomes your truth. And you're going to use your questioning and your arguments to prove your thesis. But your thesis has to be based on truth. And what is the truth? You have to, as long as it's about the business, there are clear, super clear values. What is true? Business is a system that creates and delivers something of value, resolves people's problems at the price people are willing to pay so that it can deliver and over-deliver, and that allows you, the cash flow helps you to repeat this process. So that is a relatively good truth about the business. And if you think that, yeah, but I want to think that business, that is business. Well, you can do that, but it has to be backed up with some statistics, some great information. And if your truth about who you are is based on your old beliefs, and you're not refreshing spiritual, not cleaning yourself spiritually, if you don't have a great relationship with God, then your truth is based on what you used to believe, on your older beliefs, on what other people say. Therefore, the vision has to be multiplied with the questioning and the arguments, which are based on the thesis, which you constantly improve from the truth. And you multiply that with the mission, and that's exactly what gives you the purpose. In other words, you have to follow that irrational part within you, the vision, so that you can use your mind, questioning and arguing, not arguing, but finding arguments, finding the truth, forming your principles, your personal principles and values. Use your mind for that, to question and to bring arguments in. And once you've got a resolution, you've got your thesis, put it into the mission, direct into the work, which again, I want to remind you in the description below, you can get clarity about the mission. Of course, we're going to go through all the other elements. And that is when it becomes purposeful, not when we build our own stories where we fall in love with intellectualism and we make our mind our God. So this was the third part, the last part, which I really hope will help you to get out of this intellectualism and to have a greater clarity about the mind shifting process, about the mind setting process, and about the mind control. And that's how you control your mind. You find the truth and you use your mind to understand it to that certain degree and apply it into the mission. And when you repeat the process, you grow spiritually and your business grows. You get a greater understanding of who you are, what you do, who do you serve, so that you can keep growing, serving the people in your business, and you can keep doing that with even more passion, with even more zest. And that's the purpose of this video. That's my mission, to help you to have this clarity for yourself. Thank you for your attention. Now, if you watched until this moment, subscribe and like this video, share it with someone you care about, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep growing, keep winning. Take care. Bye-bye.